And he said, so why do you want this sofa? She said, well, I remember when I was the first kid.
Poor thing.
I think we're just about ready to go live.
So that's what's happening to us, Mr. Watkins. We're being moved down the sofa. Oh, Mr. Boyle.
Okay, are we
Okay.
live? Okay, I think
It
we're ready.
says on ours that it's live. Okay, let's call this meeting to order. It is March 20th, 2025, EVIT special board meeting. And I have asked Dr. Wilson if he will please give the pledge.
Gladly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that was horrible.
I was going to say that's
it's a thought.
Not the play.
That's right.
The
All
one
right.
chance I have.
I'm sorry. You know what? Dub it. Just dub it. Edit it and dub it. It'll sound great.
It's like the echo in a stadium.
Item 3, action item. And that I need a motion for item 3A, Mesa Medical LLC and Adelante Healthcare Incorporated litigation.
Madam President. Go ahead, Dr. Go ahead.
Madam President, I make a motion for item 3A.
That we approve.
That we approve it. Yes.
Second.
Hey, Dr. Wilson.
Madam President, I believe you have a first and a second. If I may say a word or two before you take action. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. I know you have a busy schedule and taking time out of your day to pull together a meeting is difficult, so I appreciate for that. The item that you are being asked to act on tonight has a little bit of a backstory that I think it's important that we touch on briefly before we have the action item. And as you remember, we were working through a challenge that we believe we had with Mesa Medical and Adelante. And this challenge came to our attention based on a series of events. And part of the series of events required us and asked us and to look deeper into the a contract agreement that we have with Adelante and with Mesa Medical. And as we dug deeper into that contract, one of the things we realized is that within the context of the contract, the lease did not include the rental for the use of 200 parking spaces. Furthermore, we could not find that the lease was ever on an agenda or approved in a public meeting by the governing board at the time. That the lease was never approved by the voters of the EVIT CTED, which at the time in which the lease was entered into was a requirement. And also that the lease did not provide for any increase in rental over the 40 years of the lease. And so because of those issues, it gave us concern that the validity of the lease and whether the rent was below fair market value and a gift of public funds. One of the things that's of interest, I believe, is that in Mesa Medical's notice of claim that you all received includes an email touting that there's free parking in perpetuity. So even some of the artifacts that we have from Mesa Medical and Adelante indicate that there was value given to a private entity by EVIT at no cost. So the concerns about the validity of the lease and the assignment and gifts of public monies led to your decision to file a declaratory judgment action. In response to that declaratory judgment action, Adelante and Mesa Medical contacted district counsel and raised some concerns about the procedural posture of the case. We believe that they are incorrect. We actually believe that we're correct in the position that we're holding. But having the court decide whether they are correct will do a couple things. One, it will delay the resolution of whether the lease and assignment are valid or constitute a gift of public monies. And also, it will increase the cost of the litigation, thereby burdening the taxpayers and diverting resources from our students. So in order to avoid the lease and then unnecessary costs, counsel is asking that you publicly approve the recommended motion, which would allow us which would get us to the merits of the action sooner. So long story short is that some of the issues that the opposing counsel raised, we disagree with, but instead of fighting that out, the disagreement out in court, it is much more efficient, effective, and much more beneficial to the institution and taxpayers to ask you to publicly give us authorization to file litigation against both Mesa Medical and Adelante Healthcare for the lease that was for the validity of the lease, the September 2011 lease, and the assignment of the lease in July 2012. Counselor, is there more that you would like to add to that?
No, just that it would include any items, any issues related to the lease and the assignment also.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So what have we approved to get to where we're at today? Because in my mind, we had already decided to go down that path.
Go ahead, Counselor.
That is correct, Mr. Lane, and the defendant's counsel are going to challenge whether we did that correctly or not. And the briefing on, they're going to file a motion. The briefing on that's going to take several weeks, and the court can take as long as it wants to rule. So by doing it this way, we're short circuiting that motion practice, and we'll get right to the merits faster. It's just a fight we don't need to have.
So, what are we stipulating to this? Yes, my question.
You're basically approving what you already approved, but we're just doing it in a more compact and concise manner so that there's no way for them to challenge it.
Okay,
Madam President,
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
this is partly in response to Mr. Lane's inquiry. I think the concern is that previously we referenced what had been conducted in executive session as approving that, and what this does is to put, as I understand it, what this does is put this really plainly on the public record that this is what we're doing, and it's it's filing this suit against Adelante and Mesa Medical on the grounds stated and related matters. So
Publicly.
that being said, should we not have this in a public meeting then?
we did, but as I understand the notice of claim and issues kind of suggest that maybe we weren't as public about that as we should be. We're being just hugely public about what exactly it is we're doing. We're not hiding anything. We didn't think we did it wrong before, as I understand the explanation. It's just that this takes away any question about whether what it is that the board is doing.
I think, Mr. Lane, one of the pieces that is important from my perspective is that I think we will see quite a bit of information thrown at us, scenarios thrown at us that are an attempt to have the sideshow be the narrative. And the sideshow isn't the narrative. The narrative is that we're simply asking a court to determine whether the lease is valid or not. That's all we've ever asked. And there can be lots of other conversations and accusations and communications that it's something different than that, but it's not. And what I don't want to do is get stuck into the sideshow and have the sideshow actually become the focus. And by doing what we're doing today, it negates the possibility that the sideshow of whether their belief about how we've the procedural nature of the claim is correct or not, we negate that and we focus back again on what really matters. And what really matters is the lease valid? And if it's not, how do we move forward in a way that's in the best interest of all parties? And I think that's what our focus is on and needs to stay on, not all of the other information that has come out and will come out that's designed to take our attention off what really matters. And today prevents that from happening, in my opinion.
Lease and assignment. Whether the lease
and assignment, yes.
Okay, so are we moving towards a direction to making this the back and forth in this litigation more in public meetings rather than executive session? I'm sorry if I'm a little slow picking that up, but
I'm sorry, I don't think I heard that question, Mr. Lane.
well, are we moving to a direction of moving our discussions out of executive session into the public realm, as in public meetings, instead of coming back as authorizing council and administration to move forward as discussed in executive session, but rather
So
bring
I think.
that out to the fore. I'm not clear on where we're going, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
on that.
what, I think I understand the question. Now, what we're doing today is we're having a public discussion and a public vote by the governing board to authorize legal counsel to proceed with a complaint, filing a complaint against Mesa Medical and Adelante for a lease and a lease assignment that we believe are not valid. There are lots of different ways to go about that, achieving that end, but the cleanest and the most efficient is to do it in a public setting. And like I said, my goal is to not focus on a sideshow. My goal is to focus on what matters, and what matters is the truth. And this gets us to refocusing on the truth far quicker and far more effective than not doing it this way. And so that's why we brought it back to you today to have it in a public vote.
Okay, are we in a public meeting now, or I was under the impression this is an executive session?
Yeah, this is a public meeting. This is an executive
Okay,
session.
we
This is
did
not
make-
executive
okay.
session.
I guess I missed that in detail, so I apologize.
That's okay. I feel like today's meeting is we're just making sure we've dotted all of our I's and crossed all of our T's. We're making it crystal clear so there cannot be any miscommunication going forward legally. That's what I feel like what we're doing. And I think that's great. I think we go back to the Auditor General's report, and we want to make sure that we are doing everything accurately and properly, and we're doing the best that we can legally and with the information we have for our taxpayers and for all the members of our CTED. And that's what we're doing moving forward. And if I was wrong on that, please correct me, Mr. Colbell and Dr. Wilson.
No, Madam President, you're correct. I think that one of the things that we hold to, and we will always hold to, is that we're our first and primary responsibilities to the students we serve and the constituents that we serve. And in order to do that, we are going to hold ourselves accountable and to a standard that even if we feel like we're right, which I believe we are in this situation, we will take a step back and we will operationalize the decision in a way that negates others' contention that we're wrong, even though I don't think we are, so that we can move forward in a way that is far more efficient and effective. So I believe what you said is absolutely correct.
All right, thank you for explaining that to me. I just didn't understand, so thank you.
Is there any other discussion or questions before we vote?
Yeah, Madam President, if I can hop in, I just want to align myself with what you mentioned completely, in that I am confident that we stand in the right on the substantive matters of potential action, and want to ensure that we are not letting any procedural questions distract us from the ultimate resolution of the case. And so that's my understanding of why we're here today and why I'm supportive of what we're talking about.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Boyle, please call for a vote by acclamation.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
Okay.
Great.
Is there,
I second.
all right, please call for a vote by
All
acclamation.
those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you. We're
you.
adjourned. Have a great week.
Thank
I'll
you.